run it back.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Cuppy 70 video here today. It has been an incredibly long time since I've done a Dungeon Quest video, and I was just looking at my YouTube channel today and to see what was the last thing I did on Dungeon Quest, and that was some, VC carries and VC stuff. But then I looked at some of my really old videos from like way back in March from this game, and I realized that I was kind of doing a run through of the dungeons and kind of showing you guys tips and tricks on how to beat them for you guys who are lower levels. And so I decided, why don't I continue that today? So the last dungeon I did on those videos was Underworld. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Samurai, and then do Canals and Ghastly Harbor for today's video, so then I can do the last three in our next video. If you guys want to see Desert, Winter, Pirate, and all of these other dungeons here, those are all in, I think, 2 other separate videos that I guess I can link in the description, or you guys can just simply look for them in my channel. They are there. So today we're going to do some Samurai, Canals, and Ghastly, give you guys some tips and tricks on what to do, where the eggs are, and stuff like that for those of you guys who are lower level. So let's just go ahead, do some Nightmare Hardcore, because I mean that's really all that we got to do to kind of showcase. Let's just go run around and look for anybody who can be carried at this level. 85, you can't. I thought, what the? Alright, there we go. This video might be released, guys, before the big FNAF series is, so I'm really excited. Me and the boys who worked on it, who actually built the thing and did the recording, I showed everybody who was a part of the building and stuff the entire video of what I did for the editing. So Crafter, Zombie, Tech have seen it. Sadly, Marco has not seen it, but I think he's going to really like it. So they are the only ones who've seen the entire episode so far. So as of right now, as I'm recording this video, it's 9:30 a.m. my time, and noon my time is very, very soon, only an hour and a half, no, 2.5 hours away. So I'm really looking forward to, sitting there in a live chat room. I won't live stream it, but I will be in the live chat room chatting with you guys. So if you guys have any questions about the video or whatever, I would definitely be excited to do that. So let's see if anybody has joined us. Of course not. So we'll just do a solo run then. It's Samurai. We'll be fine. I do remember when I first got to Samurai. In my last Dungeon Quest video that I did like this about kind of showcasing the dungeons, I was like level 95. So I was in Samurai. And then I didn't do any more Dungeon Quest for like forever until the point of, I think, the live streams. So what I have to say about Samurai is, for a person who's new to Samurai, it is a pretty difficult dungeon. The mini bosses are pretty tricky. I think the easiest boss might be the second boss. Yeah, and these guys do have quite a bit of HP and do some good damage. I would mainly worry about the mages, because yeah, they do some damage. All right, now obviously I can one-shot these guys, but that is okay. So kind of just like, if you can, just pelt them from afar, because those mages in the back, they're gonna do some good damage to you. And also, this is probably like the first dungeon that if you don't know how to already do it already, is the strafe left and right. My E key is not back from cooldown. I thought it was. Like, don't strafe with W and D, because that's just not as fast. Just go for a direct hard strafe. Or let's go for these guys on the left, because they're much easier to handle than the guys on the right. And then, I mean, really all from here, you just got to go on either side of this billboard and come back here and work your way up. I am doing this on Nightmare though, so if this does seem like really hard for those of you who are new to this dungeon, yeah, Alright, and here we are, the first mini boss. So he spawns in these erratic lines all over the place. Mainly, this is also a big problem right here. That guy, he does quite a bit of damage, and he has, I think, 50% less HP than the regular dudes. Now here, this is a really crucial point. This bridge is the make or break zone. These mazes, if you're not careful and if you don't strafe at the right time, you will get one shot. So I think I did a pretty bad job there. I didn't expect them to have such a wide range of attack there. I was hoping they were going to focus me all together at one spot. And here, guys, if you guys are looking for the egg, this is where you guys want to look, in this wooden area, and I'm going to show you exactly. I already got the eggs, and I can show you where to do that. Alright, so right over here, guys, in one of these two barrels is the egg. Okay, it's this one. It's the one. Oh, wait, what? Did they get rid of it? Either that or I'm really sucking at this. Did they? Oh, there it is. Alright, it's in this barrel. I was so concerned they got rid of the update. But yeah, it is the barrel furthest away from you on the right side. Alright, and then here's the second mini boss. He's alright. Just, I would mainly worry about this attack right here. If you're not paying attention, you can take some serious damage. I should have waited to show you all the attacks, dang it. Oh well. But, like, once you enter this circle, if anybody else who's AFK and not paying attention, and the circle will land on them and kill them. So, just worry about that, really. Mainly those circles are your big issue there. And then these guys, just kind of the same thing, you know. But these ones, if you have high DPS, like, you're able to just kind of like 2 or 3 shot them, kind of just work around them. Don't run at them, but just kind of like strafe around, do some circular rotations, and then kind of like run to the wall and use the wall to advance, kind of thing. That's what I did way back in the day for this. Because I was back in this dungeon back at March 15th was the last video of this kind of like series, I would say, for this, like how to beat the dungeon. So I'm gonna be doing in the next video. What did I say I was gonna be doing? Steampunk, Orbital, and VC. All right, we got some decent stuff, and that boss, he's really hard. Okay, for new people, it's pretty hard. His attacks. My main thing is attack him at the beginning, and then run out and stay out of that water area, because eventually there are some like ninjas that spawn that do that warrior spinning flame thing, and they do a lot of damage. So kind of just like do the hit and run tactic, just run in there, hit him, get out, run in there, hit him, and get out. And it's going to find out that that's going to make your life so much easier with fighting that boss, because most of his attacks are in that circle as it is. Alright, well, let's go ahead and let's get going on the next one, which is Canals. This is probably going to be the legit, like, one of the harder dungeons you're going to have to face, especially because the bosses have some kind of mechanics that are a bit harder for newer players, especially to this dungeon, are going to have troubles understanding. Mainly the second and last bosses are probably going to be the hardest ones, due to the mechanics that kind of come with them. So I'm going to try not to kill them as quickly so I can kind of showcase what you guys need to look out for in these dungeons, in the Canals dungeon, that is. So let's just go ahead and do Nightmare, Hardcore, Create, and Start. I'm not going to worry about letting other people join, because this is already a pretty lengthy video. I'm trying to keep my videos below 15 minutes now, because all my videos are well over like 20 minutes and stuff. So, gonna try to start working on that. I'll also show you guys the egg. The egg's actually really close. You see those 4, 5 pillars over there between the first and second group? That is what the egg is. Watch carefully. I know I've already done the eggs personally. I have the video of me doing it, but it's such an old video, and I would have to do a voiceover of it. So I don't know if you guys really want to see me do it, and I'll have to do a voiceover, or I can just do this. But right here, guys, is where you got to go. Right here behind the first pillar into this dark crevice, and then the egg should be right where this light is, right around here, and this is where you could collect your egg. Alright. So again, these mobs are the equivalent. They don't have any speed boosts or anything. They're just like any other wave of mods. Now, this guy here, his main attack is to start shooting some orbs at you, which you're about to see here now. Avoid those orbs, because if you get hit, I do remember, I think they are splash damage. Avoid those lines as well, and then you're going to see something that when I first got to this dungeon, that little guy that ran out is quite scary, and yeah. And then he, I think, recycles through his attacks, and that's when I'll just kill him there. And so, it is pretty hard, some of these bosses. That one was not too bad, really. I think the running minion guy is probably the hardest because he's pretty fast, and if you're not paying attention, he will do, as we saw, like 250,000 damage or something like that. Now, when you guys see those waves of all mages, just try to like stick to one side, so if they do attack, you can either strafe out. But again, that's if they all pinpoint you. If they kind of just have like a spread of attack, then you probably are going to die, but try to get to a way where you best feel you can do an attack. Alright, so this boss, guys, I recommend you kind of stay behind this line, and you see, so he has a alternating perpendicular lines. Now these orbs you want to avoid, because if you hit them, you have friends with you, they will do tons of damage to not only you, but in your friends in the area. And this right here, you have to get to the safe zone. I'm probably going to die, but yeah, but you get the point. You want to get to the safe zone. Oh, I wouldn't have died, but you want to get to the safe zone when you have that going down, and then he'll repeat his attacks. But really, you only got to worry about the safe zone and the flying orbs, because if you get hit by those, it's going to hurt you and your friends, no matter where they are in the map. I've discovered that while doing this dungeon. And then again, you come back to just attacking these guys. There's really nothing interesting on how to do these. It's kind of just like the same thing that you would do for any other dungeon, because none of these guys have any speed boosts or anything, so they're pretty simple to get rid of. Now, this one right here is pretty hard. The only way to really dodge that attack is let them attack you and strafe down here, and that's how you can avoid that attack. But if they pinpoint you while you're here, then you are going to take the damage. So get close to them, allow them to hit, like, create the purple lines, and then get down here, and then you're good. If the lines are above you, then you have a problem and they will be able to hit you. So do not allow them to hit you. Alright, here we go. We're going to work our way up to the final boss once we kill this last few groups of mobs. Alright, the final boss for some new players. Of course, there has been some hard bosses throughout your grind to level 100, but this is probably going to be one of your first hardest ones, especially for game mechanics. Alright, obviously there's just some more purple lines. I mean, I think we've all seen lines in Dungeon Quest, but this right here is a safe zone, because at one point when he starts doing that, you're going to need this bubble to help to protect you from the blast that you just saw there. Without this bubble, you will take tons of damage and most likely die. So you want to make sure that when that little bubble pops up and these little lines come around him, you run to that bubble as quickly as possible so you can evade any kind of damage that is going to happen to your character. And then, I mean, obviously I can one-shot him, but be attacking him throughout his attacks. As long as you have good dodging skills, he shouldn't be too hard. Just look out for that bubble. That's really the only thing you got to really watch out for. Alright, and now this brings us to our final dungeon of the day, which is Ghastly Harbor, which, for my personal opinion, is one of my least favorite dungeons. I think that was the longest. I think that was the one dungeon that I was stuck on the longest, and I didn't really have a fun time with this one. Mainly because, of course, obviously, I think we all know that Dungeon Quest is kind of a game that you can only progress through carrying. So during my time of playing this game way back when, like I think the time I was in Ghastly was probably still mid or late March. I couldn't find any carries at this time, so I was stuck at Ghastly forever. And so granted, it is a very nice dungeon. It has some cool looks to it. The bosses are very hard for newbies, especially the second one. So this is probably like the first dungeon you're gonna get where you're gonna see a proper jump up in your dodging abilities, because when you get the steampunk, everything changes. So yeah, I was stuck on this one for a long time. I was like, why this dungeon? And so I didn't actually really have too much fun with it. But ironically, this was the very first dungeon I got my very first cosmetic with, and that was the Cursed Shipwright, which I got by complete luck. I wasn't even grinding for it. I was kind of just playing a dungeon, getting a carry, and next thing I know is new cosmetic unlocked, and it's like, what does this mean? And this is what it was. So let's go ahead and start. This guy's asking for a carry, but I'm not doing Underworld today. And even if I was, I wouldn't do Insane. So Ghastly, I have a lot of tips for this one, I have a feeling, especially for the bosses, because this is a pretty tricky dungeon for people who just got to this level, or people who are in Nightmare or just about to leave. It's still pretty hard, unless you have A, HP, and B, tons of damage. So these guys are roughly the same, except the big dude in the back, he will charge you down and then like drop on you like that. So he's probably like the only quick one. And then you have regular warriors. The raiders are the guys with the swords. The big dudes will charge you. And then you have the guys with like the harpoon guns in the back, who are kind of like the ranged units. So we'll just go ahead and knock those guys out. Now, what you're going to see in this group are mortar, like crab mortars. They're kind of similar to what you see in volcanic chambers. The cannon crab. They shoot these right here. Well, it disappeared, but always be on the move, don't stand still, because those do continuous damage. So if you're standing in them, they will continuously do damage. They won't just hit you once. So those are really, really painful. And down there, it's another group of crabs and whatnot. And then over here is the first boss, is the Kraken. He's not too bad. But if you're like really close to him and you don't know how to evade his attacks, he can be very lethal. So I'm gonna show you guys like where's the best place you want to stay during his main attacks and whatnot, because that is the best thing you can do to avoid damage. So like, this didn't fire, but once you see the little sparkles on there, stay away from it. Even after they die, they can still do damage. Alright, we're gonna come over here and fight the Kraken. Now, don't rush him unless you don't have any good ranged attacks. But if you do have good range, I recommend you don't cross this T-junction right here, and you just kind of pelt him with damage. And this right here, once you see that, you can get away from it pretty easily, even though I did mess up. Watch out for those lines, stay far back, so once you see his hand go up and ready to attack, you can just move backwards, and then you can avoid most of his damage, and then you can be pelting him during that time, and then eventually you kill him. So that is how you can get rid of the Kraken quite easily, to avoid his tentacles and everything else that can be quite lethal to you during this dungeon while you are going through it. And then once again, these guys are pretty easy. Here's my best tactic for you guys, is to kind of just run in circles if you can with your speed skill. Obviously, I don't have one right now, but with your speed skill, you can actually avoid most of the damage from these guys. Because at the time I was doing this dungeon, I used Mighty Leap, and Mighty Leap is a really good skill for warriors. And so you can just use that to, or any other speed skill, to just kind of run around them, and they shouldn't be able to touch you as long as you are consistently using your speed skill. Now, the second mini boss, he is really hard, and my best thing is for you guys is to get your speed skill and run all the way behind him. I don't have one on me right now because I don't have any like good skills for this. So it's to run all the way behind him and kind of chill around here-ish. And you can be able to do tons of damage over here as long as you're avoiding that circle. You should be alright. Just stay back here and do some stuff. Now, at some point, he's going to go into his pirate ship, which is behind us right here. And in order to get him out of the pirate ship, you need to run all the way back with your speed skill. And you need to avoid all of these wonderful cannon shells. Run over here, pick up a cannonball. You see this mechanic somewhat similar in VC and with the RNG. Run over here, put him in there, and then you can go back to the area I told you to go. And then through this time, you probably would have been able to kill him, and just like that, you can defeat the second mini boss. Now, it is very hard trying to get this distance covered while not taking damage, so do try to dodge while working your way up there. And also, it is very hard to go back and forth while trying to get a cannonball. That is also the next hardest stage. we'll go ahead and kill those guys, and then we're going to work our way to the next group, and then we'll be one step closer to not only the boss, but to the egg itself for Ghastly Harbor. Let's see, we're going to go ahead and get rid of these enforcers and all these other boyos. Okay, you don't have to kill this group of guys yet. You can just get the egg first. It's actually very simple. And I'm going to go ahead and get that. Well, I already have it, but I'll just go ahead and show it to you guys. So over here, you want to kind of like pretend to go up this way, but come behind the island on this little beach, and right here is the egg. Just come inside this cave, and it'll be, I think, the teal egg just sitting in there, and that is what you can do for that. So yeah, and then you can run back out the same way you did, take on those last group of guys, and I'll quickly show you guys a little shortcut. Because I don't know if a lot of newer players to Ghastly Harbor know this, because to be honest, I didn't know it until I was being carried, is that you can kind of run up here, you can kind of jump your way up, and just like that. But that's pretty, like, something I didn't know. It was like, how are these people doing that? And I was like, oh, that's how they did it, and that's how I learned how to do it. And here we are, to the sea serpent. He is not too difficult, but he is also quite difficult. Alright, so I recommend that you get everybody in here, because, yeah, that's the reason why. Avoid these here. These two circles will show some lines that you got to avoid. And then I'm going to show you something that the Sea Serpent's main attack is, personally, his main attack, is that he will drop down a carpet of red for fire. Stay away from that, because that does continuous damage and does tons of it. I'm doing a trash job at dodging right now. But stay away from that. Kind of just rotate from side to side and stay without of his fire breath, because he doesn't place it that much. So mainly your main concern is those lines that come out of the ground, because those come out faster and more repeatedly. And then you can be pelting him through that time and eventually kill the boss. And just like that, guys, there are my tips and tricks for the the upper tier dungeons in Dungeon Quest. In the next video, hopefully I can do the top 3. And then I can show you guys how to beat, of course, the newest dungeon in Dungeon Quest, Volcanic Chambers, which has been out for a good amount of time. Most of you guys have been grinding with me on that dungeon. But just like that, I got, whoops, that is not create dungeon. I have shown you guys Desert Winter Pirate Kings, Underworld Samurai Canals, and Ghastly. In our next video, hopefully I could do Steampunk, Orbital, and Volcanic. And then maybe if you guys want, I can do an Egg Island run. Obviously, I can't solo. I can get a few of you guys to help me out with that. But yeah, so that is what the plan is for the next Dungeon Quest video / videos. So, anywho guys, I hope you guys are enjoying my intro, and this video I plan to be the first video with my outro. So if you guys have made it this far, well, special thanks for the outro is Jeffrey. I looked at some other outros yesterday, but I didn't really like them, and Jeffrey's was pretty good. So, I'm going to be using the one that Jeffrey kind of recommended / made, so thank you very much, Jeffrey, for that. And so, yeah, and also, guys, thanks to Tech, we've gotten a lot of new improvements to the Discord server as well. So, a little thanks to you guys for that. So, that is really all I have to say for this video. I think it was tons of fun doing this. If you guys like to see more of these tips and tricks videos further on down, then I will definitely be doing that. Because I kind of want to help you low levels out, so there you guys go. Jcraft joined, there's Jeffrey himself, the man himself. So I will see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.